What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a knife review slash knife overview that is long overdue for this channel. This is the Spyderco Tenacious, one of my favorite budget knives of all time. Spoiler alert, I really like this knife. This knife was sent to me by Abby_normal_1969. Please give them a follow on Instagram. It's because of people like them that I'm able to bring you guys daily content. So thank you so much. This knife will be listed down in my description if you'd like to go check it out. And also, considering people in the future and considering that prices change, please check that link for accurate and up-to-date pricing. I'll show you guys here real quick. You can simply open up my description and check out my Amazon store. You can also check out my merch store. You can check out my Patreon. You can check out my sister channel, Silent Complex. Subscribe to Silent Complex. And then if you want to go in and see, all the different knives that I recommend, they are all nicely categorized out. I've set up this store so you guys can see my most recommendable knives, my favorite budget knives, which this one is on that list, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. So check that out. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on the Spyderco Tenacious. I think it's important to remember this is in a family of, it's actually like 4 now. There's a bigger one called the Resilience, then the Tenacious, and then the Persistence, and the something else. There's 4 of them, right? I should probably link all of them. Overall length here coming in at it's like 7.75 inches. Tip to scale, you're looking at like 3.5 inches. Yeah, it's like 3.4 inches of blade as well. Fantastic ratios. This was my first Spyderco, and it was what got me to realize, I think I understand these things now, because a lot of you guys have heard me say this. The first time I saw a Spyderco knife, I was like, wow, that's ugly and super weird. How many of you have never picked up a Spyderco knife because they look weird and ugly? They're going to continue to look weird and ugly forever, but you won't get it until you handle it, right? These knives are made for your hands. They absolutely cater to the user. They're very, very convenient. And this happens to be the one that I recommend the most as far as a budget Spyderco that's great for getting people into this world. I want to say that right off the bat because I know not everybody watches all, I do 20-minute reviews, guys. Not everybody sticks around for the entirety of it. So I want to make sure that that is known. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons here real quick. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 is coming in at 8.6 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco? Where is my Spyderco? There it is. Spyderco PM2. Here it is up against the PM2. PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. So it's a little bit shorter than the PM2, but I got to point out, you get more cutting edge on the Tenacious. So for those of you who are like, I like the PM2, but the handle size is ridiculous compared to the amount of cutting edge you get, I hear your complaint. This knife actually has better ratios. Oh wait, we skipped the Ritter Hogue. Okay, hang on, pair 3. Benchmade Reptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. Ritter Hogue coming in slightly longer at about 8 inches overall. Good size comparison there. Very similar handle and blade length and cutting edge. And last but not least, the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 coming in a little shorter at about 7.25 inches overall. How's the action on this guy? Surprisingly, it's amazing. It runs on phosphor bronze, and guys, this is a budget knife. This knife is made in China. You can see right there. It is not a Taichung, Taiwan Spyderco. It's not a US Spyderco. It's not a Japan, Seki City, Japan Spyderco. This is a Chinese Spyderco. Despite that being the case, though, the knife truthfully has fantastic action in terms of the reverse flick, the forward flick. The detent is nice and clicky. Not a fall shut knife. You can also do that thing that's not safe at all and actually ends up, causing me to throw my knives on accident sometimes. But you can do that. This is one of the more friendly Spyderco knives. Like, I would put it in the same category in terms of fidget factor as the PM2, Para 3, and even the Shim. And even though these guys all utilize the compression lock, and this is a liner lock, right? So the compression lock is a little bit more fidget friendly, but for anybody who's used to a liner lock, yeah, there's even a nub there that actually stops it from coming down on your finger. So yeah, this is a knife that you can absolutely play with all day. and for a fraction of the price of some of these higher end American Spydercos. So I really, really enjoy the action there. How's the carry profile? Let's go ahead and do carry profile up against, or thickness up against the Para 3. You can see there, like most Spydercos, this is kind of the thickness that they like to be in. It's basically the same thickness. It is a little bit, you know, it has to make room for that thumb hole. So this is going to be one of the taller Spydercos. It's similar in height to a Manix 2, which I no longer have because I sold mine to a patron. But it reminds me of that. It just doesn't quite take up as much room. It's a little shorter than the PM2. It's a little bit longer than the Para 3. If you're used to carrying those types of Spydercos, it's not going to bother you. This is a taller knife than the average pocket knife, though, so if you're somebody who's not carried a Spyderco, you've never had to deal with excess height so that they can make room for that hole, it might be a little bit awkward for you starting off. This knife is, I need to change the batteries for this scale. I'm sure a lot of you are like, oh my God, you've been dealing with those dying batteries on your scale for like a month. I'm going to go ahead and get thickness for you guys here real quick. This knife is G10 on top of full steel liners. They have been milled out a little bit on the inside, but we're working with a very thin blade stock. I'm going to guess at max 125 thousandths. Come on. Let's test her out here. Less than that even, 110 thousandths. Yeah, it's a very thin blade, and that is the case because Spyderco likes to do the flat grinds, and they like to do very performance-oriented blades. In any case, we are coming in at a completely reasonable 4.06 ounces. That, for some people, is going to be a little heavy, but truthfully, that kind of universally agreed upon appropriate weight for a pocket knife is 4 ounces. You know, people are like, I'll carry pocket knives up to 4 ounces. Or people who like really, really big, heavy knives will be like, I kind of like to start out at about 4 ounces, right? I'm kind of in there too, you know? 4 ounces, people, for the most part, agree on is an appropriate carry weight. So that mixed with the okay carry profile, I would say, yeah, this knife is not a bother at all. Is that everything leading up to, I always forget. Oh yeah, hardware check. That's why I feel like I'm forgetting something, because I moved the hardware check to an earlier part of the review. So let's go ahead and get out my handy dandy WIA bit selector and WIA magnetic driver, 2 items that are extremely inexpensive and very recommendable to everybody. They are listed in my Amazon store under knife maintenance, along with a lot of other great stuff. So check that area out. I'm almost dead positive, because I actually took mine apart, that these are all T8. So the front side is actually more decorative, and this rear side, yeah, so that's T8, and then body screws. Oh no, are they not T8? Oh, I was wrong, guys. I think those are T6. Let's try. So I gotta admit, and you know what, now I'm remembering, my first negative experience with T6 was on a Spyderco Tenacious, because I was frustrated at one of them that got stripped, because Spyderco used to put red Loctite on their screws, and I didn't know that, and I tried to take it apart and it stripped out. I don't believe Spyderco still uses red Loctite on their models. However, I'm not going to take this apart because it isn't mine. I don't know how old this particular version is. It feels like it's fairly new. And I don't know if they, you know, depending on where they're made, whether or not they're still using red Loctite on certain models. I don't know. Red Loctite sucks. That is definitely not something I recommend on any pocket knife. I actually have the type of Loctite that I do recommend for folding knives, and it's basically just the pivot. And I'm telling you guys this, and for whatever reason, I'm noticing that it's gone. Anyways, it's 242 blue Loctite for the pivot, and if you want to put Loctite on your handle screws, it's the purple Loctite. Anyways, the reason I don't like T6 is because they strip. And if they strip, then you have a problem, because you either have a screw that you can't get back in, or you got one that's stuck in there and you can't get it back out. Not that big of a deal. It's not a reason not to buy the knife. It's just a reason to be cognizant while you're taking the knife apart. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the anatomy here. So we have a very simple handle shape, black G10, fairly thick, not anything overly thick. Ergonomics on this thing are very straightforward and very Spyderco-esque, right? They take advantage of the thumb ramp here, some nice jimping, so you can really lock into this knife. This is definitely a workhorse of a knife. The reason, if you guys are wondering, the reason that I recommend this knife, as a great starting Spyderco, is because it's very straightforward. You get all the basics of a Spyderco knife in one package, one reasonably priced package, much less expensive than a regular American or Taichung Taiwan Spyderco, by the way. Yeah, you get that. You get the Peel Ply G10, you get a good handle shape. There's not any, this is actually less blocky than the standard PM2 or Para 3, which just makes it all that much more recommendable. I love it. Really happy. Nice area to engage the lock bar. Nice big cutout so you never miss it, right? We already talked about that little notch that catches your finger. Very, very comfortable. The blade is a very straightforward leaf-shaped blade. You'll hear that a lot when you get into Spydercos. Flat ground completely from the top. There is nothing in the cutting path, and the cutting edge is very, very thin. This is utilizing 8CR13 MOV, and some of you guys will hear things like 8CR13 MOV takes a really fine edge and holds it for an okay amount of time, and it's stainless. And other people will be like, 8CR13 MOV is an outdated steel. We shouldn't be seeing it, in budget knives, that are over $20 or something. I think it's one of those things where it's just people sort of fetishize the next greatest budget steel, right? People are saying forever it was D2 was the greatest thing in the whole world, and now people are like, well, D2 is kind of a... The truth is that 8CR13 MOV, in my opinion, is plenty suited for this price range. I do not have a problem with it. I don't shy away from it. It worked just fine. It's on mine, and it's also very easy to sharpen. The thing that's really going to accentuate the performance of this knife is actually the blade shape and blade geometry, right? If you had a different blade shape and it was made out of a substantially better steel, it probably wouldn't perform as well. Like if the blade was a little bit thicker and maybe it had a more prominent flat and then it had less room to drop towards the cutting edge, you'd be working with a thinner geometry. So even if you had a better steel, right, it still wouldn't perform as well in terms of slicing performance as this guy. So it's mainly Spyderco's leaf-shaped blade that's really, accentuating the performance in this knife. I suppose I really want to kind of beat that into the ground and let you guys know. Very happy with that. Up here, you can see it's a little bit sharp, but, I don't know that I really have an issue with that, considering this is a budget knife, so I'm not really going to, complain about it. In true Spyderco fashion, you have an excellent splinter getter, but not much to speak of in terms of tip strength. So do not stick this tip into something and start prying. Don't jam it into a piece of wood and start prying and then be surprised if it breaks the tip off the edge. That's probably going to happen. Don't do that. This is a pocket knife that's great for camping trips or EDC, where there's a chance you might be making kindling for a fire, or you might be doing some food prep, or you're just slicing open a cardboard box. I mean, this blade is very, very good for EDC tasks and is not a blade that I would say is very hard use oriented. So use it like a pocket knife, not like a sledgehammer or a pry bar, and you're going to be just fine. The inside of that Spyder hole is a little bit sharp. It's a little sharper than the hole on the PM2 or Para 3, especially since this blade is tumbled. So every time you do that reverse flick, you're going to get a little bit of fingernail coming off. Yeah, you can see there. See that dust on the inside of the ring? That's actually the fingernail that came off from the last flick. So that's going to happen. It's not that big of a deal. It's very easy to simply... After a while, after the flickiness of a Spyderco becomes not something you feel like you need to do every single time, you'll find yourself just doing this. It's very easy to open that way, right? Very easy to disengage and close. So happy with that. This is a liner lock. It's locking up at something like 50%. And this one is almost perfectly centered. I really don't care too much. I mean, this one's probably been used. I don't care too much if my budget knives are a little bit off center. It's not rubbing, so I'm happy with that. Moving down to the scales here, you can see we have positions for the pocket clip: tip up, tip down, right or left-handed carry. So it is a right-handed liner lock, but however you like to carry your knife, well, there you go. It doesn't have a flipper tab, so you can put it in whatever position you want. There's a lanyard hole, but it's small, so you can jam one through there. You might have to do that thing where I take it the inner thread of paracord, pull it out, stick it through there, make a loop, and then run it back through so that I can pull the thicker part of the paracord through and then create my whatever. Back when I used to make lanyards, that's how I do that on little knives like this. You've got liners that come all the way up to the lips, so nice and durable. And then you've got some very simple barrel spacers right there. Very strong construction, no issue with that. And then you've got a typical Spyderco pocket clip that's very similar in positioning and style to, in fact, it's the exact same clip. Almost exactly the same clip that's on the Shaman. I don't have an issue with that. Some people do. It carries, I wouldn't call it shallow. Closer to the shallow side, definitely not deep carry, but also not, it doesn't carry in a way that's bothersome, right? This is just really, really straightforward. There is no blade play on this guy. This is a knife, and by the way, it's running on phosphor bronze washers. This is a knife that you can take out and beat on. Much like the Ontario Rat, right? But two things I like more than the Rat are the fact that it's actually G10 and that the blade shape, they're both flat ground, right? They both probably start off with the same thickness. But this knife has longer to drop towards the cutting edge, which means this one is going to be a better slicer than the Rat. The only thing the Rat has over the Tenacious here is the fact that it's actually D2. So you get a little bit of better edge retention out of it. It's also a little harder to sharpen, and it's not stainless, whereas the ATR 13 MOV is stainless. The conclusion here is going to be pretty simple to come to, and this is going to be a shorter video, even though we're already at 16 minutes. This is an extremely recommendable knife. If you are curious about Spyderco and you don't want to drop $140 to $200 on one of the higher end ones, then go with this one because it's substantially less expensive. Like I said, check my listing for accurate pricing. This is an extremely recommendable knife. The only thing that you'll hear people say is, oh, I don't know if ATR 13 is... this is an amazing knife. I have no issue recommending it. I think this is awesome, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. And like I said, if you want a larger size of this or a slightly smaller size of this, this is in a family of knives, which means you can get exactly the size that you want or the one that best works for you. This will be going on my cheap knives that I like playlist, as well as my most recommendable knives playlist, absolutely. Thank you so much for sending this knife along. Absolutely. Give them a follow on Instagram. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it today. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on this Metal Complex logo right here and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.